afternoon. This is the knitting news from Knit Happens Teesside for this year so far, which is 2023. We have much been doing the same things really, and the same few people meeting up. Fee's gone back to France now, but she did complete her log cabin blanket before she went, which is in 4-ply. Now, I'm not a fan of rainbows particularly, but it started in the middle with all the sort of red colours and then went to orange colours that she'd got in her scraps of 4-ply. So it was a blended rainbow, and I will try my very hardest to do an insert of the picture. What I could have done is got it on my phone, couldn't I? But I can't do that many things at once. I could have a look. Right. Helen's recently moved house. So Helen's stash wasn't top priority. Well, it may have been, but it couldn't be. For unpacking. So I think she had unpacked her stash and got really excited about all the bits and bobs that she'd found, all the different yarns and inspiration. But the yarn that she was looking for was tinsel yarn, because that was, even after Christmas, she was still thinking, yes, I'm going to make some Christmas decorations. And she couldn't find a tinsel yarn anywhere. And it turned out that she'd packed in mirrors with all tinsel yarn round them. So she did eventually find it. But she's found other things. So she's a little bit flitty at the minute from one thing to the other. So that's Helen. Jill has been keeping up her superb record of felting garments. I think her wool wash on her washing machine is not to be trusted. She did buy some yarn that had no labels. So she didn't really know what it was. So she knitted a cardigan with it. And then, I don't know if she finished the whole cardigan because I didn't see it completed. But she did wash some. And it shrunk ridiculously. So she is actually going to have to hand wash if she wants to use this yarn. But she's got loads of it, so she's knitting something else. And she's a very quick knitter, so it's not as much of a problem for her as it may be for somebody else. Andy completed an Aran jumper for a friend. I may have mentioned it before. It's in the most beautiful emerald green recycled yarn, which really showed the Aran stitches. Absolutely beautiful. Really rich, lovely colour. So last night she showed us a photograph of the jumper on a friend that a friend had sent her, and it looked really lovely, and she looked very pleased. Well, she is very pleased with it. And that is what was she knitting? Oh, she was also knitting last night. Obviously, she was knitting an edge-to-edge cardigan, quite a long line cardigan, just a really wearable one, and that's kind of a lovely blend of colours. It's a bit like these colours but darker. And that's in Serdar Jewel Spun. Me, well, I'm on Sleeve Island, and I've done quite well this year so far because I've finished these sleeves, for which I had to buy a bit extra when I wasn't really intending to be buying wool, because I've got quite a nice, pleasant, extensive, luxurious stash that's not completely ridiculously huge, but if I'm ever locked down for a few years, I'll be fine. Should I say that? So I'm not intending to not buy yarn, but I did have to buy a little bit to finish this, which is the Mosaic jumper by Nomad Stitches, and it's really quite warm. And on the inside, you've got each row. You start with it's alternate colours. So there's these two colours in this section, and then to change the colour, you change the colour on the previous row by doing a treble over. So that'll be like a limey green treble over the top of a dark green row, joining on to the previous olive green row. Did I say olive or lime? Oh, it's a bit confusing. And it is confusing when you're trying to understand the pattern and read it, like make logic sense out of what you're doing. But if you just follow the pattern, it's fine. And it actually wasn't that difficult. We've got a bit of back shaping going on. It was quite enjoyable. I don't think didn't take too long. Anyway, what I'm working on at the moment. Now, I can't show you this because if I tip it up, it'll spill. But this is collagen and matcha with a little bit of soya milk all blended together. Because that's supposed to be what I should be drinking, I think. It might be nice eventually when I get used to it. Right, currently I am making another one of these. This is my daughter's Christmas jumper that she can probably get away with wearing a bit longer than just at Christmas time because it's not overly Christmassy. So that's made in Debbie Bliss, Falkland Merino Aran. And when I was at Woolfest or Yarndale or somewhere, there was a stall that had some of the same yarn in a bucket at the end in these two colours. And these were the only colours available. And I love them. And this has been a plan. Don't look at that fingernail. Get a bit chipped. It's my new craze, actually. Gel nails, but doing them myself. So I've been watching videos on how to do gel nails. Because I did get them done a few weeks ago. And I like them. But I'm not going to keep going getting them. I haven't really got the time. Anyway, so this is Tylwyth jumper, which is in, it's not in there, it's in this edition of Knit Now, which is issue 101. There's actually a couple, I like the one on the cover as well. That's nice, isn't it? So this is quite a good quick knit. It's a design inspired by the Mould Cape, a Bronze Age gold artefact found in a burial mound in Wales. And this does say Tylwyth, but it's probably the Twaddle jumper or something like that, knowing the Welsh. I do drive around in a car that's got a Welsh little flag on the end. Actually, one of my neighbours was asking. It's really my husband's car. Is he a Welshman? I was like, what's it got to do with you? Anyway, she's the local busybody. I call her the Grinch. I smiled at her yesterday when I was driving along, which was probably really unnerved her because I've told her off before for being a busybody and sticking her nose in where it doesn't belong. she was pulling in. And she was indicating. So she would be like, what's she smiling at me for? Anyway, these, I went to Yorkshire Yarn Fest with Helen, and I'll show you some of the things that I bought. I'll show you this one first, because this is the first thing I bought. From Coastal Colours. Very interesting. Now, my question is, does this remind you of anything? Because it really reminded me of something, and I couldn't leave it on the stall. Now, Coastal Colours stall. A lot of yarn stalls, when you go to these shows, they're all very well organised and very well arranged, aren't they? And you can stand and look at it all at the same time. And it's less of a treasure hunt and more of a, oh, what's my favourite colour? colours stall was a bit like a jumble sale. Just the tables. She had the different yarn qualities going round, and they were neatly arranged on top of each other. But she said, "Oh, rummage! Feel free to rummage." So you'd be rummaging through, and like you'd see a little bit like popping out at the bottom, and you'd be like, "Oh, I like the look of this one. Oh, what's this?" And that's what happened with this. So that was the first one I bought. The person who's not buying wool this year. Not quite sure what I'll do, but I think because the colours blend quite nicely, it would make her nice. I could do with another Zweig, because I really wear my Zweig a lot. So that round the yoke, if I could find something else that would go with it, would be really nice. So I'll tell you what it reminds me of at the end, if I can remember to do that. I also bought this, because I do like a bit of sparkle, and I do like a bit of purple. And these were a bargain bin, and they will come in useful for something, probably together. So they're from Quack Yarns. This one is Quack Yarns as well. Where's the other one? Oh, it's there. Now, you know when you go around, there was 2 upstairs rooms and 1 big downstairs gymnasium. You know when you look around a yarn event and you see something and you don't buy it and you think, well, I might buy it, I might go back and buy it. Well, I did that, and we went round every room twice because we were backtracking and going back to the things that we liked. And it wasn't huge anyway, so it wasn't too bad. But I did eventually find this. Adventures in Yarncraft. It's a lovely stall. So this is a single ply. Very soft. And it's called Night Sky. I do like knitting shawls, and I do wear them quite a lot. But I won't just knit them for the sake of it. I think it needs to be something that I really want to make as well. So they will just go in the stash. And then some of these, because they look like they might be quite useful. Yeah. And then, occasionally, when I think about it, I do some spinning. This is 100 grams of raw alpaca. I did buy a couple. And this is from, it's washed homegrown by Bee Grew It On It. £4 is cheap, isn't it? But it's not when you've got to do all the processing yourself. I think that maybe more or less all of my news. I'm sure to have forgotten something, but I can add it on next time, and then maybe I'll do next time a bit quicker. Yeah, I think that's it. So this skein, what this reminds me of is, especially the very green bits, sheep. It's like grassy hills with sheep on, and the sky, the blue sky, green hills, sheep. You know, like a weather. I don't know. Anyway, that's what it made me think of. When it's knitted up, I don't know if it'll make me think of little sheep with the odd black one. Well, quite a few black sheep, like me. So more news, maybe next week.